Luka Doncic just struggles and the Lakers drop a winnable game to Milwaukee. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how, sometimes on Saturdays, Andy, no matter how or where you get your podcast. Maybe you get it through Apple. Maybe you're a Spotify guy. Maybe you're one of the 37,000 plus subscribers to the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel. No matter how you do it, you are part of making the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network in this or any other known universe. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, talking to you Friday night after the Lakers drop a frustrating 105-101 game to the Bucks. It's their first loss, Andy, in the clutch. And it comes in a game where the Lakers had to make a comeback. That part was good. But they actually went up by 4 with 3 minutes to go. Game was tied with a minute to go. And the Lakers this time could not hold on. It's a little different. Like, I was comparing this to the San Antonio game. That one feels like a game that they could have won. Like, there were opportunities because San Antonio left the door open, but you kind of couldn't fault the result that much. This is a game that, missing guys, whatever, Lakers should have won this game.
This was, if nothing else, a reminder that, we've talked about before, them being undefeated to this point in clutch time was obviously, it spoke well of their resolve and their willingness to fight during these games and their ability for a lot of the season to execute in the final 5 minutes when they needed to. But also, we've pointed out, they've also had these clutch time wins. A lot of them have been against either sub 500 teams or 500-ish teams, and that they've won all these games has not really been indicative of any ability to close in the clutch because they're a dominant team. And, this is the first time that they have not lost by double digits. And the point being, you can only not execute for so long before it eventually comes back to bite you in the ass in any context. And this game was really that reminder of you can't pull it off forever.
No, and the Lakers, you used fight and resolve and things like they sort of fought and resolved their way back into the game. Like, they really did play quite hard after a really bad second quarter. It was a really, really bad defensive second quarter that put them in a hole.
I actually thought the first quarter I thought was leading into that second quarter.
But I mean, the numbers got really bad in the second quarter, into the third, and the Lakers kind of clawed their way back into this game, and then just like you said, they just didn't execute down the stretch. But the requisite effort was there. The execution was not. Because look, I mean, the Lakers are going to have to rock fight their way to a lot of wins, missing the level of offense that they are. Side note, Rui Hachimura, the Lakers hope, JJ Redick said, Lakers hope will be back in the lineup Monday night in Sacramento. Still no word on any kind of return for Austin. The defining characteristic of this game, the thing that people are going to look at, was Luka. It was 8 of 25 from the floor. It was a terrible fifth foul that with 2 seconds left in the third quarter that really put him on his heels for the fourth. And then obviously fouls out on that play that sent Michael Porter Jr. to the line.
Kevin Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr. to the line. And the Bucks take the lead. I think maybe somebody would argue with me. It was, I think, Luka's worst game as a Laker.
Oh, it was definitely his worst game as a Laker. I'm not enough of an expert on Luka's career in Dallas to know if this was the worst game of his career. It's certainly up there. It's one of 3 DQs he's had his entire season. 24 points on 8 of 25 shooting. He did have 9 assists, but 3 turnovers. A couple of them were just bad decisions. He didn't get to the line as many times as he wanted, and that clearly was a big time source of frustration for Luka from basically about halfway through the first quarter on. After the game,
and when he did get there, he didn't hit him. So,
say too, he shot 50% from the line. So he didn't even capitalize on the too few free throw attempts in his mind. He said after the game, and to Luka's credit, he took responsibility for fouling out. He clearly did not think that 6th foul was totally legit, but he also said the ref called it a foul. He's like, it's a 3-pointer. I can't do that. He took responsibility.
When I saw it in real time, I thought Porter kind of sold it, took a dive, went crumpled down, and all that kind of stuff.
But you can't put yourself in that position,
right? I think the Lakers would have lost that challenge had they challenged. I think they'd have lost it.
They were out of challenges by that.
I know.
Point,
I'm saying had they been able to, they couldn't. But had they been able to, I think they would have lost the challenge.
He couldn't put himself in that position in that context with 5 fouls. As you mentioned, that 5th was bad. Luka said after the game that the lack of calls wasn't getting to him respectfully. I disagree. And certainly James Worthy and Robert Horry after the game both said he was clearly hunting for calls. And a lot of, I wouldn't say his shot selection, but his style of shooting was very much clearly looking for the calls.
Yeah, and I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just saying it was also too because he was 4 of 6 from 3. It was a rare game where Luka was far more efficient from 3 than 2.
What's crazy is he started out looking like he was going to have an incredible game. The Lakers were up 10-7. Luka had scored or assisted on all 10 points. It started out looking fantastic.
It did. But so 4 of 6 from 3 leaves him 4 of 19 from 2. Again, some of that's foul hunting or whatever, but he missed a layup in the third quarter, this sort of Benny Hill sequence back and forth between the Lakers, but they hustled their way to what should have been easy points, and Luka just absolutely smoked a layup. And I just think those types of plays over the course of the night were starting to frustrate him in a big way. The refs compounded it. You could see he was kind of going back and forth between trying to get himself back, into, the groove of things, but also, and then trying to play his way back into doing something aggressive to make up for it. And, you end up with that stupid 5th foul, which, it wouldn't have the 5th foul. Let's assuming it plays out the same way. It doesn't save the Lakers that foul on Porter. Porter still would have gone to the line, but the difference is the Lakers would have had Luka on the floor for the last possession of the game. Kudos to the Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo made 2 outstanding defensive plays on LeBron in the last 2 Lakers possessions, 1 a block, 1 a steal. But that last possession,
spoiling would have been a great game for LeBron.
It was, and we'll talk about LeBron in the next segment. But it would have been a big deal for the Lakers, who needed a bucket to tie. They did not need a 3 because Porter only made 2 of 3 from the line. They only needed 2, and having Luka on the floor would have made a significant difference in how that last possession played out.
Look, every superstar is entitled to a bad game. All the greats have played poorly before. This is extremely out of character for Luka. I would not be particularly concerned about this being the start of a bad stretch. But that said, he said himself, he was terrible all night. He was clearly frustrated from about, I would say, 5-6 minutes into this game, and it never just got any better for him. It happens. It just happened to take place on a night where the Lakers couldn't overcome it.
There were other things. We'll talk a little bit about the Rui parts. and the continued resurgence of LeBron James next.
We're going to let you know, though, that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season. FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour, your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Friday nights, 6 to 7:30 Eastern. They have become appointment viewing during NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by BetterHelp. As we roll into the new year, there's a lot of pressure to chase a new you. Sometimes it isn't about reinventing yourself, though. It's about feeling a little less weighed down. And therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back, giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, motivations, relationships. That's why BetterHelp can be such a helpful place to start. The therapists, fully licensed in the U.S., work under a strict code of conduct. They'll help you match with a therapist based on your needs and preferences. So you're not doing all that legwork on your own. And I know for a lot of people, the biggest impediment to taking up therapy and getting that help is finding the therapist. So you get a lot of help from BetterHelp to do that. If the match isn't right, you can switch to another therapist at any time. So BetterHelp has served over 5 million people with more than 30,000 therapists, and live sessions average out a 4.9 of 5 rating across 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. I think what was frustrating for this one is, like I said, unlike like the San Antonio game, the Lakers worked really hard down the stretch of this game. They did not work so hard, at least defensively, at other parts of the game, but they certainly didn't quit on this game at all. LeBron really, I think, picked them up on a night where Luca was obviously struggling. They do all this work, and it was a lack of execution, little mistakes, guys missing assignments, the ball going in the wrong spot. And, there was a lot of that over the course of the night. You roll back the tape, even guys who played well, you can find 2, 3, 4 things. You'd be like, ooh, what was that? Like, don't do that. I don't mind when the Lakers don't win games that they could, but probably should. It's toss up, and they're against better teams. This wasn't that. This was a chance. This was a game they were winning with 3 minutes left. And once you're winning a game with 3 minutes left, you need to figure out a way to win it. And if you don't, it's going to be really frustrating.
And this one was 23 second chance points for the Bucks, 50 points in the paint, 20 points off turnovers. They were pushing pace a lot. I mentioned on Friday's regular show heading into this game that I talked with Camille Davis from Locked On Bucks about these sort of things that often cause issues for the Lakers. And she said these are not strengths of the Bucks, like even since Giannis has returned. And I asked her, if the Bucks manage to thrive in these ways, do you think it'll end up saying more about the Lakers than the Bucks? And she said, probably. And without taking anything or trying to take anything away from Milwaukee, it seems like Camille's analysis was correct. This is the way it felt to me. Like there was a lot of executional details that they just did not do well in this game.
I look at it, they are an offensively challenged team without Rui and Austin in the lineup. And so now you add to that Luka having a tough game. And it's going to be it's hard to know where the offense is going to come from. Jake LaRavia, he did his part. He was 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3-point range, 13 points overall. Jared Vanderbilt was surprisingly effective inside, which is always
Vando had a really
nice game. He was active, he was disruptive. He again finished inside, which is, for all the time we spend talking about his 3-point shot in the corner three, which has cooled off a little bit, but he's got to be able to get an offensive rebound, put the ball back up and in. And he did that a couple times on Friday. That was really good to see. DeAndre Ayton very obviously suffers without the sort of the full complement of the offense. He's just not a guy who is going to create his own offense. He was, as good as he was against Giannis in the first game against the Bucks, he was invisible in this one. 4 points, 5 rebounds, minus 13 in 24 minutes. A bad night for DeAndre.
We've seen a trend, and obviously the Lakers and Ayton himself need to figure this out. Hopefully not much longer. Hopefully Rui will be available Monday versus Sacramento. But in this period without Rui, without Reeves, and then the times on the floor when it's just one of Luka or LeBron, it's very clear defenses are like, we will take our chances with Marcus Smart, with Jake LaRavia, with Vando, Gabe, Dalton. What we're not going to do is allow you to set up easy shots for Ayton. And they're often swarming him. They are making it difficult to get the ball, to get into these short rolls.
Well, they know what's coming. Yeah. And so every team gives up certain things, and the Lakers just have too many things that are you're very easy to give up. You will allow Jared Vanderbilt to take 700 wide open corner threes, and if he hits enough of them to beat you, then kudos, Jared Vanderbilt. You're going to let Marcus Smart take as many threes as you want. You're going to try to keep Luka on the perimeter. Even like a guy like LaRavia, I think they'll still default to, go basically anybody on the Lakers, go shoot.
And look,
three.
Tonight the Lakers shot 42% from
they did
three.
Fine.
They actually were making outside shots.
It was, and 36 threes, it's not even like they took 12. They just, I think teams are very much aware of how Ayton gets the ball, where he likes to get the ball, and taking some of those plays away. And that's where it hurts, where he's not the kind of center that you can kind of, drop the ball into the post and let him go to work. He's not a guy who's going to, physically move through resistance. He, stops at contact and takes little floaters. And then when it works, it works. But he's, his limitations become more obvious where the Lakers are kind of suffering the way they are. So they need to get guys back. They need to figure out a way to get Ayton going in a consistent way. I am not ready to, call this up. Here comes bad DeAndre Ayton again. I think there's just too much other stuff going on. One guy,
a bad stretch.
It has. There's no question. I'm not saying it's been good. I'm just saying, I'm not willing to chalk it up yet. That he just doesn't care. He stopped trying. He stopped working. I don't necessarily think that's true. LeBron continues his resurgence. This is I think the big piece of upside from this game. 26 points, 10 of 21, 4 of 6 from the line, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals. Obviously, some disappointment he couldn't get those last couple shots even up because of really great defensive plays from Giannis. But he absolutely brought the Lakers back in this game and has started to string together a run of good games that look much more like the LeBron we're used to. His last 10 games, to me, feel pretty much like what LeBron games are supposed to feel like, certainly over the last couple of years.
He's, I think, finding a good way to pace himself throughout games. And I don't mean necessarily like picking his spots, taking possessions off. I mean more just find a pace that works for him in terms of exerting as much energy as he needs, possession by possession basis, picking the shots that he wants. Like, it really also, I think it helps. This was not the world's greatest night in terms of synergy between him and Luka, but I think the synergy that has been on the whole better over the last maybe 5 games is really helpful for LeBron because it helps him get easier shots. And the more easy shots that he gets, the less he has to do everything on his own. The easier.
Although I will say the shot, he did a lot of his generating his own stuff on Friday, which was good to see.
No. I that's right. Yes. I mean, like I said, this was not a great game for the synergy between Luka and LeBron, which means if LeBron was going to thrive the way he did tonight, 26 points, 10 of 21 from the field, got to the line 6 times, made 4 of them, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 turnovers, but also 3 steals. And, one of the turnovers was in the last 4 seconds of the game or something. Right. LeBron in the fourth quarter in particular was quite good. I thought Jackson Hayes' numbers won't jump out at you, and he was fighting foul trouble, but I thought Jackson made a lot of really good plays in this game, particularly in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Mentioned Vando. This is actually a game where enough of the role players, even if not statistically, provided what I think had Luka had a normal night, the foundational support was there for LeBron and a normal night from Luka.
I agree, but it just reinforced they have no punch off the bench. And so guys, my problem with the guys on the bench has never been that they don't try or they don't come in and work hard. It's just they need more scoring punch. And so, they don't get it. Hayes he's always going to work hard. And, sometimes you might get kind of a random 14 points, 12 points, whatever, but you really can't expect, even when he's playing well, more than, 10 points from Jackson. That's a big night. If you get 8 points from Gabe Vincent these days, that's considered kind of a big deal. If you get a bucket from Maxi Kleber, that's, so it's just, that's kind of where they are. Yeah. And they need a full complement of guys in part because it pushes some of these other players into bench roles and might give them a little more scoring punch. To the point I was just making, we'll quit here, about LeBron looking much more like himself over the Lakers' last 10 games. LeBron's played 9 of them, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 55% from the floor, 35% from the from 3-point range. So, lagging behind a little bit of the numbers from last year, but definitely starting to see it.
Last thing I wanted to bring up, I meant to mention it when we were talking about Ayton earlier, and I've seen a few comments which reminded me of it. I think Ayton is also suffering without Austin because I don't think anybody ran a better pick and roll with Ayton, who I think really gets Ayton's pace, upon setting screens, and he's got kind of an unusual cadence and tempo when he sort of rolls his way to the basket or rolls into the pocket, stuff like that. Austin gets it. Maybe it's because Austin has sort of an unusual.
Well, I don't think it's so much that I don't think it's Ayton has a weird. I think he's reading, where the ball is and watching, sort of the pace of how fast or slow he's supposed to go. And just, that the spacing and the defensive attention and where defenders have to be when you have both of those guys out, when you have Luka and Austin, when you have Austin on the ball, when you have it's just different. And I think Ayton is running into some frustration. I think he's, the Lakers offense is just not very good right now. And it just brings everybody down. And he's not the kind of player who can cook, so to speak. Yeah. You have to set him up.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention
he's short-armed a lot of, I think he was a little, little frightened of the long arms of Giannis through a lot of this game. Miles Turner effectively. Just he short-armed a bunch of stuff tonight.
Yeah.
So
I just thought it was worth mentioning just because it's something I'd planned to anyway. Again, it was rare to see something like this from Luka. All superstars are going to have a really Lulu of a night every now and then. I don't think this is going to happen often, but it was an unfortunately timed struggle to this degree.
Locked on Lakers on YouTube is breaking a go hang out with over 37,000 subscribers to the channel. Lakers play in Sacramento on Monday night. That's a game that they expect Rui Hachimura to be back on the floor, and a game they need to win. We'll see everyone then, or we'll see everyone for Monday's show.